Hi guys, glad you can join me today because I've got a great little story about my great-great-grandpa. I remember as a small child he used to come up with these wonderful stories he would tell, and these cards actually belong to him. I would imagine, looking at how old they are and very sticky and grubby, that they're probably around the turn of the century. But I thought it'd be interesting to do a little performance using his original cards. I should try my best. But I remember him telling me a story that he was a professional gambler, a professional cheat at that, and he had been banned from most of the casinos in Vegas. On this occasion he said he had demonstrated what he used to do when he played cards. He said when you go to a casino, they always give them a shuffle to make sure they're thoroughly mixed up. He said sometimes they would even cut the cards before dealing. Now the dealer would take the cards and proceed to deal the cards out to all of the people playing the games. Now on this occasion, he was going to be dealt 2 cards because he liked to play blackjack. That was his game of choice. And he said on this one occasion, he was dealt 2 cards. When he turned them over, he saw that he had an ace. Unfortunately, the other one wasn't quite as good in a game of blackjack, the 5 of diamonds. Now, because he was known throughout the casinos as a bit of a cheat, they would insist on checking his cards. He had no problem in handing the cards to them to check that they are just single cards, nothing on the back, just regular. And he would be quite happy to give them both cards, and they could check the back, the face of each card. Now what he would do is he would then take one of the good cards. Now in this case the ace was the good card. He said I would put it on top, and he said I had a secret move that nobody ever picked up on. He said I would put the good card on top, the lower card at the bottom. The 5 of diamonds is there, you can see it. He said watch, I pushed that under. Now watch this card here, okay? As I push that forward, that's our 5 of diamonds. And he said this was my move. I would tickle the corner of the card. And when he turned it over, right before my eyes, the 5 had gone. It was now this incredible picture card, the king. And again, he said, have a look at it, check it. And as a young child, I grabbed it and looked for that 5. I couldn't find that anywhere. It was incredible. He even gave me the ace and said, look, just check the ace as well. And I did, and I couldn't see that 5. I was impressed as a child, but I did say to him, well, that's great when you're playing card games such as blackjack where you dealt 2 cards. But I said to him, what happens if you play a card game of poker? And he said, well, in that case you normally have 5 cards. So he said, I'll tell you what, take out 3 cards. And I grabbed for the 3 cards. And he said, are you happy? Out of all of these cards you could have had, you've grabbed these 3 cards. Now, we're going to play 5-card poker. I'm going to keep the 2 cards, he said, that you dealt me before, which are the ace and the king, yeah, to give me a head start. But you did pick out 3 random cards. Now, of course, we know that an ace and a king in blackjack is perfect, but what about poker? You see, again, he said, I did the move. I tickled the corner of the cards, and that was my move. We got an ace, a king, a queen, a jack, and a 10, a royal flush. So was my great-great-grandpa really a great card cheat or just a great magician? Practice and enjoy. So here's the secret to that fictitious story I told. Hope you enjoyed it anyway. The cards themselves, I love these cards. I picked these up quite recently and they're just so old looking, the pictures. I've got bicycle cards similar to this, but these pictures are great. I love the Ace of Spades in here. This is what us magicians are like. We're a bit of a geek when it comes to playing cards. We admire them. Can't even find the Ace of Spades now, but the Ace of Spades is beautiful. There it is there, look at that, that's a beautiful Ace of Spades. But the cards just look old. Now there is one downside to these were quite expensive, but there was one downside to these, they're not plastic coated. So they tend to stick together, as you can see, absolutely awful using these cards. But I wanted it to feel authentic when I told you the story. So using these older cards just added a bit more credibility to the story I told. Now the trick itself is very simple, but I just think the story makes it. So I'm going to go through briefly how it worked, but if you are a magician, and I know that you're a magician watching this, you've probably watched the routine and you've probably worked out the couple of moves that I did. So first of all, how does it work? Well, you just need enough cards for a royal flush. I use the clubs, the 10, Jack, Queen, King and Ace. Now what I do, at the bottom of the pack, I put the 10, the Jack, the Queen. On the top of the pack, what I need, and I tend to choose a red card because it's a contrasting colour and stands out better. I then turn the pack over. I then have the Ace, then the red card, and then the King there. So if I square these up and turn them over, the King is on top, and drop those. You do some false shuffles, and then you deal off the cards. What I'm going to do is push off 3 because I want to steal this one here. So I talk about he gets dealt 2 cards, and I square them and put the cards to one side. I've now got 3 cards. Now 3 cards. I first will just turn the whole packet over and just pull off the first one. There you can see the red. Now the great thing about this is I chuck that out and say that people examine that to convince them it's just 1 card. As I bring this back, I put it to the bottom. I then turn my hand over and push off the face card. I don't want to reveal this. They pick that up. They've now seen 2 cards dealt, 2 cards examined. Everything at this point seems very clean. As you bring this back, just time it so you cover the King. Simple as that. Okay, so just cover it on there. I guess you could, once they've examined it, turn it down and just pick up the cards like that. That's probably a better way. You then just pull off the bottom card. You've got 2 cards here, and put it so it half covers the 4. Remind the spectator that the bottom card is the 4 and the Ace is on top. You push the double cards to line up. You turn the pack end for end, not this way, turn it end for end, and then just with your finger, because you've got some grip either side, just push forward this card. Just the 1 card will go. Okay, the 4 is here. This is the King. So now when you tickle the card and turn it over, they see an instant change. And to the layperson, I know it's pretty lame for us magicians, but to the layperson, they think that's great. Wow, it's changed. I like to have it half covered because any spectator that's kind of curious, they're thinking, oh, what's he hiding? Then when you pull it out to show the whole card and ask them to examine it, that's great. Now they examine that. When you bring it back, I add it face down to the bottom, and then I do the same as I did before. I turn my hand over and I just push off the face card, which is this. Okay, so I'm just pushing off the face card as I put it down, and I casually just drop this. This looks like 1 card. I just casually drop it. That way I've now lost that 4. They examine this, you put it on there. Now you could leave the trick at that. That could be the end of it. But then you can go on and say, well, what if I wasn't playing blackjack, I was playing poker, 5-card poker. You then do a shuffle because you need to get those 3 cards you stacked at the bottom to the top. So you give the cards a casual shuffle, reversing the order, like that. So the top 3 cards are the ones I want. You ask someone to pick out any 3 cards without looking at it. They grab the 3 cards. You then say you could have had any of these. What I'm actually doing is I'm going to get a break under the top 3 cards, because you're about to do a switch. Pick up these 2 and say, look, I tell you what, the 2 cards I dealt before I'm going to keep. You square up the cards, there they are. You're then going to do an entire packet switch. Again, watch YouTube videos, there's loads of videos on how to do this. I'm not going to explain it here, I'm sure you do know the move anyway. But you're going to do a switch, okay? That's what you're going to do. Let me see if I can get an angle from the camera above. I'm literally just going to pinch those as you put your thumb on here to squeeze these. It looks to the onlooker that you've just placed the 2 cards on there and pulled away the 3 that they chose. There. The illusion is great. You put the cards down and then you say that these are the 2 cards that I was dealt, but wouldn't it be great if I could have a royal flush? And that's it. Have a little practice on that. I think it's a great little story. I think you're going to enjoy performing that one. Don't forget, we upload videos every single week, so if you're new to the channel, how about hitting the subscribe button? Really appreciate that. Also give us a thumbs up and maybe leave some comments with how this could be improved or some ideas. That's what this channel is all about. Let's share some ideas among us hobbyists and professional magicians. Till next time, practice and enjoy.